Okay, so it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's Purim here in Yerushalayim, and I am just on a high. I just came back from hearing Morenu Harav Hagon Rav Don Segal Shlita. It was just an incredible experience, and I want to share with you what happened and how it's helped me with trying to figure out what's going on with this crazy war that we're going through. I'm actually speaking in our miklat here in Fort Parnas in Har Nof. This is where we come to every time the sirens go off. Let's hope there's no sirens in the next 10 minutes. And just want you to feel a little bit about the incredible dichotomies, right? The confusion of the way that we're trying to think. I said a year ago when we had round one that I'm hoping it won't be round one. I'm hoping it'll just be the end of everything. But it turned out that my hunch was right. It was round one. And when this war began, I said, Krish Baruch Hu, I don't want this to be just round two, and there should be a third round, and it should keep on going. We want to have the Geula already finished, completed. Let's have it over with. Let's have the Geula ready. And as I had been saying from the beginning of this war, since Simchas Torah 2 years ago, Krish Baruch Hu is talking to us through the dates. And how incredible is this? How amazing is this? That we're here in the days of Purim, and the great miracles that we saw happened on Parshas Zachar. And you know, because I've been talking about this for 2 years, that my Rebbe, Rav Moshe Pero, Tzaddik Zichron Livracha, the last 10 years of his life, was speaking again and again and again, that the great finale has to be, because Chazal say so, has to be with Paras, with Persia, and Persia is Iran. And I was thinking to myself over the last few years, actually, it just came to a climax in the last week that the Persian Empire really only had one moment in history when they basically ruled the whole world, which was the time of Achashverosh, and a second time, which is happening right now. What do I mean they rule the whole world? Is that today you have anti-Semitism literally in 127 countries. Never happened during World War II. Think about it. There it was Central Europe, it was Eastern Europe, but most of the world was not anti the Jews. But today, 127 nations, meaning the whole world, hates us. Today, there's a war that's going on right now where even the majority of the American people are not for us. Europe's gone. New York is gone. Iran is the most powerful nation in the world. Even if they lose this place, we're still deep into Golus Yishmael, which is the way Chazal said it would be before Mashiach comes. So you've got this incredible situation where 2,500 years ago, you had the Persian Empire, you had the Purim story, and today, once again, it's coming back as Chazal predicted. You have the powerful Persian Empire, but this time it's Iran. And no one with a little bit of sense would ever truly think that you can just change the regime. You just go in and change 1 billion Muslims, of which millions and millions and millions of them believe with their gut that the destruction of the Jews and Klal Yisrael is primary in their minds. So what's going to be? So I was thinking to myself, could this be the Geula? And then I'm thinking to myself, the opposite. Is Trump going to be the Goyal? Is he the one that's going to be causing this thing? Is a secular Israel who has so much difficulty, and it kills me to say this because I love them so much. It kills them to say HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. It kills them to say, look at what our pilots are doing with Siyata Dishmaya. Why can't they say it? Is this going to be what the Geula looks like? So tonight, Rav Don Segal put me in my place. Skeptics like myself, they're thinking this is not going to be it. We're going to have to wait for round three. He says, no. We have the wrong mentality. The Chofetz Chaim said that the main reason why we don't have the Geula is because we don't want it enough. We're too cynical, like Menachem Nissel, to think that this could actually be it, that this could actually bring the Geula. Stop overthinking that it has to be this kind of way, that kind of way, that tshuva has to happen this way or that way. No. He quoted from the Chemes Hadas of the Chofetz Chaim that if you daven for the Geula and you really want it, it's going to happen. Tonight, when Rav Don Segal spoke, there was no music. The youngsters were not there. It wasn't the crazy sort of vibe of Purim that we normally have. It was tefillas. Everyone was crying and davening. He chose which psukim to say, psukim for the Geula, and he introduced it for 10 minutes, explaining, if you believe we can make it happen through tefillah and tshuva, it's going to happen. And then it occurred to me, what happened the first time round? The first time round, Esther gets up and says, we've got a problem. We're all going to die. We're all going to be destroyed. And she says, Lech k'nois is kol Yehudim. Bring all the Yidden together. Bring them into a shul. Bring them into a place where we can do tshuva together and tefillah together. Now I want to point out something. It's the first time in history that we see Lech k'nois is kol Yehudim, the concept of a Beis Knesset. The concept of Yidden coming together in one place to daven for a Yeshua. Not only that, that period of history was the period where the leadership was Anshe Knesset Hagdola, as if to say the key to everything is Klal Yisrael in Golus coming together, one as a nation. I just noted, because last night I made a sian, a Masechtas Megillah, in memory of my late brother-in-law. The last parak of Masechtas Megillah is Hilchos Beis HaKnesses. So comes along Esther and says, everyone get together and daven and cry for Mashiach to come. But the story doesn't end there. Because after the Geula, at the end of the Megillah, so once again, Esther says, I want this to be a Yom Tov forever. I want to remember the Geula that's going on. I want people to remember the miracles that are happening. And once again, Chazal will kiveya, a Beis Knesses, where we read the story of the Yeshuas of Purim, and we talk about the miracles that happen. It's different from Hanukkah. Hanukkah, the Pisumi Nisa, is done for the street. But this time, the Pisumi Nisa is done in the shul, in the same place where we cried and we davened for Yeshua. Now we sing a story and we tell over a story and we laugh at a story about the Geula itself. The Beis Knesses contains two opposites. The Beis Knesses contains the first story of Esther and the second story of Esther. The Esther that tells us to cry and to do tshuva and to daven, and the Esther that tells us to celebrate. And it's possible that the same shul can contain the same two opposites. I had a beautiful thought yesterday. It's well known. I'm going to read it to you. A pasuk that says, here we go. It says, here we go. Zeresh, that incredible Rebbitzin of Haman, says the following words. He says, I can't find it, but it's somewhere over here, where she says to Haman and says, if you're starting to fall from this nation called Klal Yisrael, this is after he had just taken Mordechai on this horse, and his daughter had just died, and things were crashing around him. If you're beginning to fall, ki nafel tipol. Nafel tipol is a double expression of falling. Nafel tipol. Once you start fall, you will continue to fall. And Rashi quotes the Gemara. And Rashi says that Klal Yisrael is compared to the Kochavim, the stars. And Klal Yisrael is compared to Afar, to earth. He says when Klal Yisrael climb, they reach the stars. When Klal Yisrael fall, they reach the earth. And Rashi is saying this right here because Zeresh was telling Haman, Klal Yisrael are climbing up, they're reaching the stars, you cannot survive. But I was thinking to myself, why use the example of stars and earth? Kochavim and Afar. In davening, I say, V'nafshi ka'afa lakol tiyeh. You and I ask every single day, sometimes 3 times a day, if you say Ol Shemona Esreis, let my soul be like Afar. What is Afar? Afar is something where you plant seeds. Afar is something where you can mashpia from inside the earth, completely hidden in a world of darkness. Meaning, a Jew can change the world like the stars. The stars is the portal to the higher worlds. The stars is this light that shines up the darkness. this powerful light that exists above, or in the world of darkness, in this miklat, this lowly miklat, where everyone is saying Tehillim together. And I don't want to talk about the trauma of seeing my neighbors in their pajamas, but this world that we live in, which is a world of darkness, and the world of the Yeshuas that we saw last Shabbos in Parsha Zachor, which is the world of light in the Kechavim, can happen simultaneously, which is what we're seeing now. We're seeing miracles, and we're seeing Klal Yisrael going through so much tsar at the same time. We're seeing Esther's Beis Knesses of tshuva and tefillah, and we're seeing Esther's Beis Knesses, where we come together to celebrate miracles. What will happen next? That is in our hands. Rav Don Segal said that we can will. We can truly will. Don't worry about the rest of the world. Don't worry about our secular brothers and sisters doing tshuva. They'll do it at the right time. Don't worry about why Hashem chose Trump. He's got his cheshbainis. But we, you and I, it's in our hands to bring the geula right now. All we have to do is the tshuva and the tefillah and the knesses, bringing Klal Yisrael together, meaning in our own little neighborhood, every single person you have tension with, to break those barriers of judging people unfavorably, to bring people close to you, to make a Beit Knesset of people together in your neighborhood, and me in my neighborhood, and everyone in their neighborhoods. And it's going to be people like this that can take Rav Don Segal's vision and see that if you want it, it's going to happen right now. There's Hashem Yisbarach. Because Baruch should grant us that this crazy place that we're in now, the tsar, the pain that the Jewish people are going, combined with the joy and the happiness of the miracles we're seeing, should come together. So Klal Yisrael, who is Afa, and Klal Yisrael, who are the Kochavim, can fuse together and greet the Melech HaMashiach Meher B'Yameinu.